uh, during my inaugural inaugural of LND Forum, which is again compelling me to take this statistics at this August forum. Uh, Friends, Indian corporation training market is expected to cross rupees 6600 crores by 2025. On an average, in 2019, employees of mid and large segment industry received some 42 hours of average training. Indian organizations spent rupees 22 to 25,000 against the global average of rupees 85 to 90,000 per employee on LND or TND, what we call. According to the World Economic Forum, 54% of all employees will require significant reskilling and upskilling in just coming 2 years. Learning and development was rated top rated trend in 2019 according to global human capital trends. Considering all about these factuals, we are at the end of 2020, which is we call it new normal, new learning trends. So question is, are those trends are going to give desired outcome? In particularly this situation, I mean, when no one has expected, and still we are delivering whatever the roles we have been assigned. Unlike any other functions or any other industries, the learning and development or the TND is also a vital one of the operations in any organization, maybe a mid segment, large segment, or the MSME. It is a continuous process. That's what we call. And friends, the LND Forum has initiated with the goal of covering the practitioners, LND practitioners, which are catering. If you take Vadodara city, then it is catering more than 2 to 3 lakh employees. The people who have joined us or the allied group who has joined us are catering. If you put everyone in the one basket, then I think the number can exceed 4 to 5 lakhs. So we all are catering to the one need, maybe a different under different umbrella, under different banner, but our goal, our mission is the same. So the forum says that the forum was quite needed, and that's what we have thought and we have initiated to learn new trends from each other, to exchange best practices, to create pool of trainers within organization, to create a networking platform, uh, to create a pool of tried and tested faculties which enable us to unite and strengthen our practices. LND will give its recognition and respect when we come together. Friends, I'm happy, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker as well as the allied panelist. I will introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Bhavna Mehta. I think as she has recognized quickly the faces, and she is also known face in a town. So I think no one needs the formal introduction, but yes, she carries so many feathers on her cap. So I think it is the right platform to mention. Dr. Bhavna Mehta is a head of department and professor in social work at the Faculty of Social Work. She is the director of Office of Corporate Affairs, a dean officer on special duty, Faculty of Law of the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University. She is a qualified social worker with almost 30 years of experience in the field of social work, women's studies, and the human resource management. Friends, recently Professor Mehta was assigned the responsibility to draft the CSR policy for the Department of Women and Child Development, Government of Gujarat, for its ICDS program. She is also an internal compliant committee of the corporate under the POST Act. She has been invited by the University of Punjab, Lahore, Pakistan, University of College, Dublin, Ireland, University of South Carolina, USA as visiting faculty, wherein she has given a number of public lectures, topics of social relevance. Recently, Dr. Mehta was the only Asian woman to have been invited by the Council of International Fellowship Israel under its peace program. She was also the only Asian to be the part of the core team to work on the quality and standards of the professional exchange program of Council of International Fellowship. Dr. Mehta is also a gender trainer who has taken more than 100 gender sensitization and posh awareness program. She is widely traveled and has presented many national and international forums. She has more than 50 academic publications published in journal or renowned publishers. So we have an entire institute with us today as a keynote speaker. Madam, we extend you warm welcome on behalf of LND Forum. Friends, we have also the very elite panel with us. I will take a pleasure to introduce our elite panel members. We have Mr. Vishwajit Gaikwad. He is our General Manager, HR, Admin, IR, LND Forum at Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals Limited. Prior to this assignment, he was with Reliance Industries as IR lead at corporate. Prior to his Reliance assignment, he had extensive experience with an Thapar Group, GIPCL. He had a good stint with the GIPCL also. And he is 88 batch passed out from FSW, our own faculty. Friends, he has also inclination towards IR, PMS, and definitely L&D activities. Baroda has given many brothers, duo brothers like Pandya brothers or Pathan brothers. We have a Gaikwad brothers. His brother is also into the HR and the IR field. So, sir, I extend you the warm welcome again.
Thank you, Shishode. Thank you very much.
We have Mr. Prerak Desai, our another panel member, who holds his BBA degree and MSW PG diploma in IRPM, PG diploma in labor laws and practice. He had worked as a welfare officer in private company in his initial days. He had worked in a field of HR, industrial relation, labor laws, welfare and industrial relations. He had also extensively working experience at various places of the nation like Uttarakhand, Assam, Maharashtra. He recognized domain expert in the field of IR and especially handling disputes. That is, conducted more than 20 workshops on IR and labor laws and management of contract labors all over ONGC. Uh, he had played a quite vital role in deciding fair wages policy for extending better wages and service conditions to contract workers deployed in the establishment of the ONGC. Friends, he is a general manager as well as head skills department from ONGC. Good afternoon, Desai Sahib. I extend you a warm welcome. We have another stalwart.
Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. We have another stalwart with us, Mr. Ajay Trivedi. He is also a well-known face. And Mr. Trivedi holds a degree in chemistry, which is followed by masters in social work and PG diploma in HRM and LLB. He comes with an rich 29 years of the experience. He have worked with Gujarat Inject Limited during his initial period, then Bale Ceramics, G Lighting, GB, and now with Jetco. He is also an internal faculty for GETRI for soft skills and law. He has contributed as visiting lecturer in our law social faculty. In his professional journey so far, he has contributed in field of HR, IR, L&D, and legal. Sir, we welcome you with very electrifying welcome note. Welcome to our L&D forum, sir. We have another very dynamic elite member with us, Samra Arote, and she is traveling and she is part of our today's panel. So Samra has trained more than 10,000 plus employees on leadership and behavioral skills in the top IT manufacturing, pharma and engineering companies. She has 15 years of the extensive experience in instruction design. Samra uses the adult learning theories to train employees using blended learning techniques. She has worked with three top IT companies in India and consulted for some top international pharma companies. Samra is also currently heading the L&D initiatives from Bombardier Transportation India. Along with this job description, I welcome you, Samra. in this L&D forum. So these are our. I'm really glad, and it's giving me a pleasure to invite one on all of you. Madam, I will request you, Dr. Bhavna Mehta, to kindly give you a keynote speak, please.
Thank you, Yogendra Sisodeji, for having me here, inviting me. I will talk about the forum a little later, but for past 3 months, it's really been a good interactions with you that I'm having with response to this L&D forum. Let me also join the esteemed panel members. Two of them are our own alumni, and I'm very proud to share the dais with them, and looking forward to even learning from them, because they are the ones who are actually the doers and help us bring in a lot of practical things in the classroom when they share their experiences in various forums, and we can very proudly say that they are our alumni. So thank you for joining and giving me the opportunity to be part of them. Now, coming to the point, the topic of today's the entire panel discussion. I'm sure all these esteemed panel members will be really talking about how the L&D scenario has been changing and has changed over past 9 months or so in our country, but world over in past 1 year or so. So I'm not, and they are the practitioners, they are the people who are really in the organizations doing what is expected and what is required to be done. Nonetheless, a person sitting outside and viewing, and also at the same time linked to bringing in all that is happening in the field in our classrooms. This COVID-19 has also affected all of us, quote unquote, in a same way, at the same time, very differently. Each one of us are coping with it again in a same way, but responding to it very, very differently. Like, say, for example, all of us are now expected to wear the mask. All of us were in the situation of lockdown for almost 2 months. All of us have to maintain social and physical distancing. A lot of people sitting here, as part of this particular right now gathering, have been experiencing working from home for past more than 9 months. So these are some of the very, very similar experiences that all of us are having. But at the same time, each one of us in our own individual capacity, as well as in our professional capacity, have responded to this pandemic in a probably different ways. And when I say different ways, individually, all of us have a different way to cope and respond to the crisis situation that we experience in our lives. Some of us are able to take it in its stride. Some of us get nervous. Some of us get more charged when the crisis comes and gather their inner strength and respond to it in a very different way. So individually, it has affected physically, mentally, financially, economically to all of us in a different way. And professionally, all of us have learned to cope with this changing time and finding a solution in our own way, at the same time learning from each other. And that is, I think, is the wonderful outcome of this pandemic. The history has shown that any time there has been a crisis situation, whenever there is an extraordinary, turbulent time, the unprecedented time, a lot of innovations have come out. We have examples right from World War to, even recent time, where we are seeing that a lot of companies that were preparing beers or having their own distillery plants have converted it into making sanitizers because alcohol is required for sanitization. There is example of a company who was actually doing 3D printing have gone to prepare, convert it into making a valve that is required, in ICUs and on ventilators. So, I was attended also one meeting of Vadodara Innovation Council, and I found that how this unprecedented time, crisis time, which is actually taking its own toll on humanity, has also brought out some of the very exceptional innovative ideas, has given an opportunity, has thrown up on an opportunity for many group of people to respond to it in differently. Like group of women have formed their own self-help groups and are making masks and are liaisoning with the government department and are supplying it. At the same time, youth have started their own startups to because they were having an uncertain time in terms of their own job situations, so they thought it's better to get going and have become an entrepreneur themselves. So any crisis situations, in short, opens the door. And as we always have a saying, if खुदा एक रास्ता बंद करता है तो दूसरे 10 रास्ते खुल जाते हैं. And in this pandemic time, that has come very, very true. At the same time, when this pandemic settled and all of us started, it started sinking in us. In the early days, that is when I'm talking about the end of March, April, May, I should not go till May, till mid-April, first 2-3 weeks, we all got lost in terms of what to do, how to do, kya hoga abhi, what will happen to all that is lined up. I was invited by many corporates in the month of March, because March becomes usually a 8th March celebration month, with a lot of organizations inviting for gender sensitization programs, and that becomes part of their L&D activities. And that got cancelled because I was supposed to travel to them, and they said, "Madam, we cannot call you now because of the restrictions and other things." Because I think from 15th of March, it had started. And the same companies later on, in the month of April end and all, started saying, "Madam, why don't you come and take the training on Zoom?" So this coping time, was a short period of time, but then people bounced back and found different ways to doing what they have been doing so far. McKinsey report of early March, which I'm sure all of you would have gone through, has reported that in the month of March, almost in countries of Europe and America, 80% of the budget that was allotted to L&D got really withdrawn, and the trainings and programs were cancelled, and so as it in our country and in some of the Asian countries as well. Barring those first 2 months, where we did not see learning and development taking place, training and development taking place across, by the time people gathered to find different ways to deal with the situation, and wherein online training and the virtual training really came into a foray. However, I'm sure the speakers will talk about it, that when you use virtual platforms, the way you conduct your learning and training, the way you conduct your training programs need to be tweaked. That pedagogy needs to be changed than what you have it when you have face-to-face learning, or in the workshops mode, or in the classroom mode, or any other way. And that means required a lot of preparedness on the part of the trainer. When I put myself into that, remember that time, I was so very nervous. We had an international webinar wherein we said that how will we take individual conferences, with our students. Ajay ji and Vishwajit, about the importance of individual conferences that we have as a part of our training. And we were so nervous as a teacher. Kaise kar payenge? When my student is not sitting in front of me, I can't see the non-verbal communications. I can't see his body language. I can't see, his confidence, etc., etc. But now, after 9 months, we are taking every day, every week, once in a week conference virtually, and let me tell you, the students are really giving us a very good positive response. So the point I'm driving at, that in this COVID era, L&T entire nature has changed. We have become virtual, everything has become online, but that means along with it, we had to re-gear, re-engineer, rethink, relearn, unlearn a lot of things, and that process would continue. We had undertaken one small research at the time when the lockdown was on, and we asked common people, what did they do? How did they use this time, uh, uh, to learn something or for their own development? And let me tell you, I'm very happy to say that most of the respondents were youth. That means they were between the age of 18 to 32, and they said that they use this time mainly to do a lot of online programs. They use this time to learn new sets of knowledge and skills and thereby acquire it. And these are the findings. This was like more than 1,000 youth of Vadodara whom we had spoken to. So virtual online learning has its real lot of merit, and people are seeing it as an opportunity to upskill themselves and expand their own knowledge horizon, to diversify, and at the same time reach out to the areas which probably were unexplored by them. So that is a third thing. The fourth, which comes to be very, very important, that digital solutions have become now very important part. So people like us who are now, quote unquote, is in the older generations, above 50, and I'm sure Prerak Bhai also would, renaissance with me, that we are learning, a new sets of skills with that as a trainer. And that means in our own organizations with employees, we'll have to upgrade their skills related to using of virtual platforms, using online skills and all. The new set norms, the new normal now, as we call it, is all about using maximum available resources within the limited resources that is there. And that is what Mr. Sisode did talk about. And that is the purpose of this L&D forum, which has been formed in Vadodara. He called me up, I remember exactly, sometime in the month of September end, and he just used me as a sounding board to say, Madam, this is what I'm thinking, that now that because the resources have got, crunched is there, at the same time, some challenges are very common across board. So why can't we pull our resources together and learn from each other, use these resources for the benefit of larger group? Because when you're doing virtual learning, whether you do it with 100 or whether you do it with 500, it doesn't make too much of a difference. And if we can learn from each other, that would be a great thing to do. And immediately I said that this is the best way to do social learning. And that is what, again, is the new concept that COVID era has thrown amongst us, that now we all have to go for a social learning. That means we learn from each other, we learn by observing others, we learn by imitating others. So what has worked maybe in JETCO may work in GSEL or may work in some other organization, and that is what we need to do. And that is the purpose of this L&T forum. And Vadodara, as a city, we are very cohesive, very close-knit. We have a presence of all types of organizations. We have government, semi-government, private, MNCs, everyone is around, with each having its own needs, at the same time linked together through various forums. So I think I would really like to congratulate GSEL team, especially Yogendra Sisode ji, for taking this initiative. He received the blessings from the MD of the organization, because I remember during the inaugural time, he had also joined. And there are more than 50, 60 organizations that have become part of this L&T group, and with the individual membership of many more. So I really think it's a great initiative, and COVID-19 time, definitely we all of us want to end. We want that to go back to our old normals, but at the same time, this new normal that has come in, I'm sure we will carry it along. And this old and new Samanvai will bring in much more healthy outcome than before. And I really wish all of you all the best for that new Samanvay that we are really looking forward to. New integration of old normal with new normal, and we will make it as old new combination, get the best of both the learning type for the benefit of our organizations, employees, client system, and everyone involved into it. Thank you for having me here. All the best to everyone. My best wishes to the forum. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you,
For
madam.
the beautiful opening. Madam has left us with something to be think about. Like she has talked about the crisis situation which opens the door, and now from classroom we are now into the virtual connections, and technology has taken a driving seat. Again, she had a good research also about the youth, and they had invested the time during this lockdown period. We are turning back to the digital solutions. But friends, I'm definitely the Samanvay. This is the wonderful word which I have, Madam, you quoted, and we had accepted it, and we will take it forward for sure. But friends, she has left us with one question: do this L&D or trainings virtually are same impactful the way it was in the classroom or during the classroom sessions and when these trainings used to happen? Secondly, we are here talking about training sessions or the learning sessions of the employees who have just passed out from their academic career or who are into the industry since last 10-15 years. वैसे भी एक दिक्कत होती थी कि इनको ट्रेनिंग दिलानी या ट्रेनिंग रखना एक बहुत बड़ी चैलेंज हुआ करती थी. नाउ अगेन दिस वेबिनार्स. So with this question, I think I will ask to open one of our panel member to share his own experience, how he has overcome this. I would like to invite Trivedi Saab, if he can share some light on this, that how he had managed this challenge. So we have Mr. Ajay Trivedi.
Yeah, am I audible?
You are audible, but you are not visible, sir.
Okay, I'll start video. Yeah, good afternoon all. Basically, this is a practical question where the industries need to address. Actually, in our company, interest in it long back in May. So in May, we started these online trainings for class 1 and 2 employees. And basically, what we found is the participation and the quantitative aspects were much more better, but the training effectiveness, learning effectiveness was not measurable. It still remains a question. And second thing, training impact of the training is not measurable. That is okay, but the thing is that the training requirements, whether we require that sort of training or that sort of learning in our organization or not, that also we are facing difficulty to judge.
Okay, sir. I will request Gaikwad Saab to throw a light that what is his thoughts on how definitely we had jointly, he had directed us and instructed.
Shishode, thank you very much. You are part of our L&D team, and you very well know, since first week of April, we have shifted our L&D to virtual mode. And thanks to our team, thanks to our leadership, who has encouraged us to organize seminars and training programs virtually. Actually, let me tell you about one of the programs which we organized. Shishode, tell me if I am not wrong. we organize regarding awareness of POSH for all the employees. And we could cover around 500 employees in 10 days, which in classroom mode is impossible task for any L&D team. And if you see the effectiveness, around 95% employees who attended this program could clear the test. So I must say that we have to change our way we train the people and way we organize our L&D learning programs. See, with this pandemic, your long-term programs like 1 week, 2 weeks, or months together, that you have to put on backbench. Now time is you have to go for very short-term programs and JIT programs, webcast, and take up. This is the best opportunity to take advantage of this virtual world. See, whatever budget you have, shift it to technological upgradation. As all of us L&D professional knows that we have a very fat budget for our venues and hoteling and traveling. So all must be having fat budget. Like we are also having not very fat, but fat budget. So we are using that budget for digital platform, and that is the buzzword. You have to digitize everything. You have to digitize L&D. And to be more effective now, you have to use virtual platform. And it is becoming like effective. Most of the best of the faculties are available on virtual platform. So I think it's time to change. Rather, we have started changing. So new normal is becoming normal for L&D now. So I must say that it is effective, but it is up to L&D to use it effectively.
This leads me to ask the question to about the skill development. Prerak Bhai Desai sir, he is leading the ONGC Skill Development Center. So, sir, what changes or what kind of challenges you are facing, and how you are coming up, and how you are planning, and how you are implementing the skill development program?
Okay, Mr. Sivade, at the beginning, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me to, and a lot of compliment to you and Bhumi for taking the initiative and taking it through. And
Thank
thanks
you.
also to Bhavna ma'am for kind words. Yes, ma'am, three of us are here. Okay, now talking about ONGC, let me Madam has covered lot many conceptual points. Let me talk about ONGC. See, initially, frankly, when lockdown was announced, it was a fanfare celebration for employees. कल से ऑफिस नहीं जाना है. I have got so many frantic calls, sir, कल से ऑफिस नहीं आना है, ऐसे नहीं कल से ऑफिस नहीं आना है. Just so celebration mood. Later on, एक week गया, 10 दिन गए, 2 week गए, then they realized that it is not only no office, but it is also no movies, no malls, no shopping, no outing, no social contacts, nothing of that sort. Second thing, you switch on TV, corona, so many dead, so many admitted, so many negativity. So the amount of negativity and stress built in slowly, and each individual was governed by his own threshold. कोई 10 दिन में हो गया, 2 हफ्ते में हो गया, कोई 3 हफ्ते में हो गया. We waited as Bhavna ma'am told, none of us was aware what was happening and what are we supposed to do, where do we want to go. My first objective was to break the cycle of negativity and stress. So how to do that? We have to go systematically for that. So first thing we did, that we started a program. The topic was happiness, your choice. That was the topic we took. And I wrote in my boss of Baroda, executive director, which basic manager, I wrote in for that topic. And I told them we are going to talk only about happiness, personal life, or how to be happy, how to remain cheerful. No official thing, no skill, no knowledge, no geology, no production. We did that successfully. Everybody was happy. And then we told that now it is up to you to take it down. Then thereafter we started with lightweight, featherweight programs. programs like, Art of Negotiation, Lord Krishna model, Amplify Your Ikigai, then POSH, gender sensitization. Then we have the programs on the time management, all those things, like featherweight or lightweight programs. Our objective was to bring employees to the online forum. Because you will agree that ONGC employees are so much of used to classroom training, especially when we have got locations like Goa, Dehradun, Delhi, Bangalore to attend programs. Nobody would like to come online. So my first job was to attract them to these programs. Once we became successful, the number of participants initially was 7. From 7, we crossed 100. Then we had a major program for HR executives. We roped in Professor T.V. Rao, ex-professor IIM Ahmedabad, to conduct a national webinar for HR executives. My first objective was to mobilize, to motivate, to recharge the HR executives, who in turn can play the role of a motivator at the location level. That's what we did. Then we started moving to slightly operational topics. Topic about SAP, handling materials management, handling safety at derrick and rig floor, how to manage workout services, how to optimize drilling, how to handle disasters. All the training we are conducting, and we are getting excellent response. And let me tell you, Mr. Shichote, this is the time L&D has to play an aggressive role. Up till now, L&D was playing a supporting function. But this is the time we have to play aggressive role, and in ONGC we are doing it. From May till November, I have conducted 28 programs and trained more than 1,400 employees online trainings. And good thing is, even the unionized category class 3-4, who generally claim that aapko nahi aata hai, they are also roped into this. But we have certain problems. Like in one of the programs, I follow the Kirkpatrick model of training. Pre-training, I take the test, and post-training, I take the same test to know the effectiveness of the training. Now, these online forums, we do not have the facility to conduct the test twice. We do not have the facility to conduct the test. So we are facing problem on that. Certain programs, see, we are working in mines. We are essentially in oil and gas. So we are working in mines. We need to have certain certifications for employees, which is called mines vocational training. Now that cannot be conducted online. It has to be conducted offline. Where the person has to go to mine, he has to be trained in mine, he has to be taken to rig. We are facing problem in that. Still, we have requested our mines authorities to give us permission for that. We are waiting for their permission. And this is how we have been doing, and we have been quite successful. And let me tell you one more thing. CMD of ONGC has already declared his intention, considering the success and success ratio of the programs. We might continue online programs even post-COVID, as and when it happens. Another thing what we did, that taking cue from L&D, even the ER and HR functions have taken cue from L&D. What we have done, apart from training, we have also started employee engagement programs. Like we recruit graduate trainees in large number, 200, 250 in one lot. Generally, we train them in Dehradun, where we have got ONGC Academy, but now we are not able to do that. So we are doing onboarding of GTs through online programs. That is one employee engagement initiative. Another we have undertaken was, recently we have undertaken is business games for officers of ONGC. That is also through online portals. A third is business games for physically challenged employees. That also we did online. And taking cue from this, L&D played such a key role that we motivated, we passed on the recharge employee relation functions. And they have done a magic that we have signed a settlement of wage revision of class 3-4 employees through online portals, which is a near impossibility, which is impossibility in ONGC, because 12 recognized unions, 27 locations, and more than 12,000 employees. But we successfully did it. And I can say with confidence that we have been successful, and we will be successful in future also. With this, I raise my point. Thank you.
That is fantastic input, sir, from your end. So what Mr. Gaikwad, sir, he had rightly pointed that leadership plays a vital role, and so your executive director Basin, he was also quite supportive to take up this program, and that was and you continued ahead with such kind of programs, and you have attended or was successfully organized the few programs. Now, this was something about the PSUs what we are dealing. We have the panelist from the MNC. Samra, how you have coped up? I mean, what was your take and how you are now implementing?
Sure. So good afternoon, everybody. I will just quickly like to share, what really happened at Bombardier. So as an organization, because most of the employees definitely, do connect with their colleagues in Europe or in Americas virtually, there was a lot of openness in terms of the white-collared employees to take up, e-learning programs. The modules that were e-learning. However, we did have many leadership programs that were planned, at the beginning of the year in January itself, were planned to happen in classrooms. And these were planned not just in India, but across APAC and in Europe. And when in March, was the time of the execution of the entire event, we felt this lull where we weren't really be able to, deliver what we had really planned. So I think the first element that we realized as L&D was to accept our reality. And I think as individuals, if not just as L&D professionals or HR professionals, I think the first thing that we really did was, as human beings, was to accept our reality. And this was a message that was being sent out across the organization, is to make good with what we have. And I think that was a very, very strong message that went out to people that kind of brought down the remorse of not being able to see your colleagues, or the remorse of not being able to interact at the level of which the interaction was planned. So that was level one, to accept our reality. The second was the speed in action. So to be honest, there has been great business partnering, at work. But as HR and L&D professionals, what we really did was to quickly check base or touch base with our business leaders and check with them what is something that you would really need to do in 2020, and something that can be rescheduled to 2021. Now, when we had this categorization done, it was very easy to quickly jump onto action with the things that were really required. And like I said, for the leadership programs, of course, we quickly went on to Teams, which seemed as a very, very safe option, as opposed to Zoom, because there were a lot of reviews that were coming about Zoom. So we quickly got on to Teams. As internal trainers, I think there was a set of round of trainings that were done for internal trainers in terms of understanding the tool well and how can you really use it more interactively. So right from polls that were created for our internal trainers to teaching them how could they really use certain reflection packs or certain online activities in terms of prepping our audience, our presenters, prepping them. So that was the second element that we did in terms of prepping our facilitators. And of course, the third was a lot of conversation around learning and development going virtual, sending out a lot of teasers in terms of how we are going to make it very interactive for them, and not believing that you could just log on and just be there, because as a part of all our training programs, we would have 50 plus people logged on to training programs, and as a part of the program there were a lot of interactive sessions and interactive exercises that they had to undertake. In terms of training effectiveness, that Mr. Sisodia did mention that, how organizations have been struggling with training effectiveness. We've taken a very key step, I would say, is to ensure that all training requirements or the gaps that have been identified for individuals have been captured as a part of their KRAs. So in terms of development plans, this year, Bombardier has been very, very stringent in terms of completing our development plans. Because there is a little amount of time there is on hand, because there's so much of time that's been saved in terms of the transit to work or to back, or sometimes the time that is spent in meetings, because everything now quickly happens over Teams. So I think in terms of the training effectiveness, and this is of course an answer to the previous question that was asked to Mr. Gaikwad, and Mr. Prerak. So ideally, I think this was a very crucial step taken by the organization, is to make the learning journey a KPI or a KRA for the individual themselves. It was more than the responsibility of learning and development. I think it became a responsibility of the individual. So we started seeing people logging on to programs on time, people registering to training programs on time, because they knew that at the end of the year, this is something that would be asked. And because then they are rated on their behavior modification, this becomes Kirkpatrick level 3 that is being taken care of. And that's how I think, in terms of skill development and also training effectiveness, was like a master stroke that came into place. So I hope I've answered your question correctly.
Well, wonderfully, you had given your inputs that the 3 steps accepted the reality, then you speed up, and then you had clubbed it to your KRAs and the KPIs. And I think now you are reaping the results out of that. And I'm sure you must have substantial training hours by now. But do you really face the real challenge between the people who was techo savvy and the people who was in a workshop floor? It was really a challenge for you to take them to join the digital world, and was with an excuses कि हमने तो ना आवड़े, हमारा માટે આ difficult છે. Because I think many must be listening to this. So Samra, how have you?
Sure. So I'll answer that. So in terms of white collars, of course, we did not really face too much challenge. In fact, because our sessions were not more than 2.5 hours, because I believe as an individual, 8 hours in a classroom is great, but virtually you cannot really make people sit for 8 hours. That was a mindset that I had to, in fact, change, because while I was consulting, some years back, when clients would come back to me and tell me that Samra, aap 2 ghante ki training kara do, I would usually say that no, nothing really happens in 2 hours. You really need to give them 1 hour. Of course, we had a vested interest in an 8-hour training at that point of time. But now looking at somebody who is, on the other side of the table, and also because I believe that, there are certain projects that people are really busy with, it becomes very crucial for an any professional also to change the way that they do work. And that's how, for the remote sessions, the number of hours went less. In terms of dealing with blue collar employees, of course, getting them onto, a virtual platform, to be honest, was not difficult. I think that
I think since she's traveling, we are losing her network. Samra, we are losing you. You are having some network issues. I will quickly take this to the forum. One another issue which is we are facing, or we are trying to explore, other than Gaikwad sir will throw a light to this. We are trying to explore the capsules readily available within the trainers or the agencies, which can be intake by the employees, maybe in terms of technical, maybe in terms of the commercial learnings. That employee can log in from his own time and place, and he can accomplish the task of certain courses. So, Gaikwad sir, why don't you?
See, as far as soft skill is concerned, we are getting good people online, and we are connected to webcast also. So that is the in thing during pandemic. As far as specific technical skills required and technical training and other knowledge specific to our plants and specific to the subject, we are finding it difficult to get the right platform and right people. We tried with Plethora, we tried with LinkedIn Learning, and such big Lynda, Lynda has been taken over by LinkedIn, but they could not cater to our specific requirement of knowledge sharing or specific requirement of the subject knowledge and training. So I leave it to other panelists also that is it possible to give technical training online? Secondly, whether there is there any virtual platform available for engineering training and for chemical plant training and for any other specific to technical requirement training available virtually? So I leave it to panelists also or other people who have joined here. They can share if they have anything.
Yeah, Mr. Gaikwad, I like to share our
Can
experience in this. We are having requirement of training, lot of trainings in technical skills. Like we are having trainings for hotline, trainings for testing of equipments, training for operations and maintenance, and there are a lot of requirement for the people of varying class, like class 1, class 2, class 3 and 4. So for class 3 and 4 we are having internal faculties and they impart training online. And for class 1 and 2 we are having a lot of agencies like even SIGRE and like the CEA, Central Electricity Authority, and many other organizations. They are having two types of training, like live online training also, and we can attend their capsules as and when we get time. Like so, these are all the available resources as far as the electricity industry is concerned, and we have been successfully doing it. Rather, after trying this, our training mandates have improved. Means it has been threefold, increased threefold. But that is quantitative aspect. Now I'll come to the qualitative aspect. The as we all discussed, the effectiveness of the training. Effectiveness of the training, as Samra rightly shared, that effectiveness of the training, it comes from many factors like KRS and comparing with the skill gap and everything. But the thing is that once we have done all this, as far as the delivery of the training is concerned, how well it goes, like it is our experience that whenever you go for online technical training, you are not able to impart them the practical aspect of the training. It is more or less a theoretical exercise, and simulation is also not possible to a great extent. The thing is that it can be made interactive. Yes, it can be made interactive, and by way of interaction, they can share their knowledge, but that remains theoretical interaction, because in as far as our technical staff is concerned, we have to train them for and we need to make them ready to perform their job, actually to perform operation and maintenance job, to perform testing of the equipment, for certification. So for all that, the online trainings and even the capsules which is being offered by many good organizations, those are not sufficient, and we are still in a process to find out how effectively we can do it. If somebody can throw light on this aspect, it will be, I think, very much helpful to the fraternity.
right. So
We
if y'all can hear me, I would like to interject there, if that's all right.
please go ahead. Please.
Sure. Thank you. So in terms of technical trainings as well, like I was mentioning, the KPIs and KRAs that have been set, along with that, something very specific that is taken up now, not just for, leadership or behavioral training programs, but also for technical training programs. As you might know that Bombardier is, an amalgamation of work that we are doing is with engineering, has a very huge element of IT also in it, apart from, all the special processes that we have there in terms of manufacturing. So there's a very interesting element that has been actually picked up by the organization is to have these Kaizen projects that have been injected as a part of the training program. So apart, from attending these classroom trainings, it has been mandated, not just for soft skill training programs, but also for technical training programs, to identify certain Kaizen projects that can be implemented as a part of, training effectiveness, and also showing the practicality aspect of it. So say, for example, if I am training an employee on a specific, special process of maybe torquing or halting, or the other processes that we have, there would be a group of people who would undertake a project of Kaizen for that specific special process, and then deliver it by the end of the training program. Also, I believe that training is something that cannot really be taught for a process, or for a behavior modification, cannot really happen in a particular day. So we will have to really induce certain module capsule sized, or bite sized training programs to our employees. So say, for example, even if it is a technical training program, reducing the training hours into shorter durations in terms of in a day, but in expanding the duration of training programs, and then of course have the Kaizen projects as an element to the training program, to see the outcome and the practicality aspect of it. So that is something that we've been administering, not just to technical training programs, but also to our behavior modification training programs, and we are seeing quite good results there.
That's fantastic. Samra, I think, sir, we do have the representation from the academic also. We have Dr. Bhavna Mehta, we have Dr. Sunita Nambiar with us today, and we have Ankur Saxena also. So why anyone please take up and kindly try to intervene how the best academic and the industry can come together, and we can come up with a needed solutions readily available as far as the Indian technical context is concerned. Because what rightly every panelist have mentioned, that there are numbers of training readily available in the market, but they are more of into the soft skill behavior. The technical trainings are still in the lack, and it is in right demand. And if it is academician as well as the industry, I think we can definitely cater to the today's need. Madam, if anyone from the faculty would like to take up this.
Let me just, while others may also add, let me just say, to the forum that the National Education Policy 2020, which has recently been launched in the month of August in our country, is really emphasizing on making the education, making the effort, more rigorous effort to make the education industry ready. That means that all that what is imparted in the university, should be relevant, and industry should be able to absorb students immediately without to give them any additional training, and quote unquote. Now, having said that, at the university level, we always are grappling, and wanting that there is a very strong liaison with the industry people. So, university and academia and industry should come together for the larger benefit of the society as such. There have been a number of initiatives that have taken place in past, wherein, because I'm from the Office of Corporate Affairs, I can be aware about some of those initiatives, wherein, many industries have instituted the chair, like L&T has done it, Siemens have done it, and there are many others also in the university, who have set up the laboratories, who have set up, the kind of providing infrastructures to the university where students can get this kind of exposure. That is one. However, there are industries like many of you sitting here where students can go and are taking internships and are learning and getting the trainings. Now, these internships are in terms of from the technical discipline, that is the faculty of technology, polytechnic, science, pharmacy. They all are, students and the departments are willing to send their students out for trainings in the industries. Now what comes is how do we do this matching of the needs of the industry versus the needs of the university. So I think forum like this can provide such kind of a opportunity wherein students can get exposure of getting to learn. Like today we are having a different kind of discussions, but maybe if it's a technical training and it is imparted by industry for their own employees, say for example, maybe can it be kept open for students of the university or maybe of final year or a postgraduate level where they can also be part of that training and they can learn through their virtual platforms. That is one. There have been initiatives by companies who have their own training and development department, have their workshops open for our students to go and take their trainings. So there are different ways where this conversion can take place, and it can be a win-win situations because company can train students while they are in a student's mode and then can be immediately absorbed when they pass out. So, and that will benefit also to them in the long run. So this is something, unless Ankur or Sunita or anyone else wants to add to that. That was my friend, Sisodeji. Yeah.
Can I intervene for a minute?
Yes,
can
yes,
Desai
ji, yeah.
Yes. Number
I'm
one.
sorry, I missed out talking on you. Yeah.
Oh, no issue, no. Ma'am, we have got 3 different connections. Right now, you are aware of only one. We have got 3 different connections. Apart from Faculty of Social Work, 2 more connections we have.
Yes.
Okay, coming to the point made by Dr. Bhavana Mehta. Ma'am, we already are taking students for our internship. Right now, I already have 2 students from Faculty of Social Work, senior students. They are doing. We have students coming from different parts of country also, doing internship in electrical, mechanical, various topics. So we are doing that, and the suggestion is a very good suggestion that students can join the workshops conducted by ONGC. That I'll share with you. Whatever program you think relevant, you can they can also join through our ONGC programs from SDC Vadodara. That will do. And that is what I owe to my own faculty. That is what I owe to my own faculty. Coming to the point of Mr. Gaikwad. Mr. Gaikwad, just let me know what kind of technical programs you need, engineering programs. Just let me know. If I have some faculties within ONGC, we can work out that. See, the point
Definitely,
is you are in a slightly general industry, chemical industry. So you can get ready-made modules. But I am in a very specialized industry, oil industry. I'm having almost monopoly existence. So we don't have any modules, any agency which can conduct the programs for ONGC. We only have to go international forums, international agencies. So what we have done, we essentially developed and mentored our own faculties, our own engineers, our own officers to work to develop as faculty. Another thing which we are considering is that nowadays people sitting in US can watch the wedding, can watch the funeral online from there. So that also we are considering agar rig mein jaake if we can have online functioning of the rig shown to the students online. That also we are exploring. And this is of course a long-term solution, but you can also develop your in-house faculty. Let me share my own experience. Since you are a hardcore IR man, you know the Makkah of IR is XLRI, right? We wanted to conduct program on management of contract labor. So we invited Professor Padi from XLRI to conduct a program for our management of contract labor for HR and technical officers. Excellent program. He cracked many jokes. Everybody enjoyed. Everybody laughed. They thoroughly enjoyed the program.
PK Padi, I think.
PK Padi.
Yeah.
But when participants started posing questions, how to address this problem, how to address that problem, he was not in a position to answer. That is how I have developed myself as a faculty. I owe my existence as faculty to Professor PK Padi, because of whom I became faculty. It's a long-term solution, but I think you can consider and a dynamic person like you can take a lot of interest in developing your in-house resources as faculty. And let me know engineering programs that you require. Let me see if I can have some faculty from my ONGC. We can work out those programs.
So nice of you, sir. This forum is meant for same what you have extended. This forum is really meant to share our internal faculties who are having the relevant experience of years together, but they don't get such kind of platform wherein they can share their experience. And I'm sure, quite sure that your help or your extending what kind of help is definitely going to help not only us but many other industries who have the part of this L&D forum. And friends, even I am requesting that if you need any kind of assistance from our end, we are into the chlor-alkali and the caustic soda industry, and definitely we have our own manufacturing ways and the processes. But few functions remain same. I mean, I'm not a technical person, but say instrumentation or the civil engineering or the electrical engineering. I mean, we have few accolades in our cap also. We were the first state promoted PSU to earn the carbon credit. So we are into the fossil energy also. So friends, if you need any kind of such help, we are quite open. I would like to keep the forum open for the question answer session. If the participants have any questions to any particularly panel or to open forum, you can please either put it on the chat box or you can ask directly to the panelist. Friends. Or anyone would like to throw more light?
Yeah, Mr. Shishode, I'd like to add something to that. That we have almost 22 internal faculties for various aspects of electrical engineering, basically design, development, testing, erection and commissioning, and subsequent operation and maintenance activities. We have got soft skill training faculties also internally, and we also have some faculties which deliver the insights into the legal aspect of the contracts, legal aspect of even contract labor, legal aspect of various turnkey projects and all that. So as and when any of our participant organization requires the expertise on that, we can definitely share knowledge, and on such platforms we can definitely call our faculties to enlighten us.
Fantastic, sir. We will definitely get in touch with you. So I think considering the paucity of the time and the learned allied members, they must have their another commitments also. So I will request my colleague Bhumi to kindly extend the warm vote of thanks to all allied members and the participants.
So this has been a very enlightening session for all of us, and I am sure all the participants have gained a lot of insight on learning and development and all the functions of HR per se. So I'm extremely thankful to our keynote speaker, Dr. Bhavna Mehta, for sharing her knowledge of academics and corporate. And she has a rich experience spread over years, and she has worked with various organizations and academics and in various countries. So thank you so much, ma'am. And special thanks to our 4 panel members, Gaikwad sir, Prerak Desai sir, and Ajay Trivedi sir, and Samra, for sharing their insights on L&D. I'm sure that there has been a entire paradigm shift if we consider the pre-COVID and the post-COVID period. So we have to adopt a lot of practices which were previously not in our scope, and this has definitely widened the horizons of L&D and gave us better ways to deal with learning and development and to spread knowledge amongst our employees. And we thank on behalf of GACL and L&D Forum, I would like to thank you all for sharing your knowledge for L&D. You're sharing your best practices, and as Prerak sir lastly said, we can definitely exchange our faculties and bring the best to the table for all the employees that are working in our organization, and definitely the academics as well. Thank you all from the faculty as well, Ankur sir, Ila Pandya ma'am, and we have all the others as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much
Bhumi.
to all.
Thank you very much. Well conducted
Thanks a
program.
lot. Thanks a lot. And Mr.
Thank
Kishore and Mr. Please continue. Please continue the same vein.
Special thanks to L&D Forum.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And all of you are most welcome to faculty, hopefully soon.
Yes, madam, that is homecoming.
Yes, yes, and we're most willing to host you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.